there was another point, guys, that obviously we learned this weekend. Something that came to the fore, obviously the horrendous injury to Raul Jimenez, his head injury. The latest news on that, the update is that he's in hospital in London. He's had surgery on a fractured skull after that nasty, horrible collision with David Luiz, where he was knocked unconscious, was carried off the pitch, gained consciousness only when he got to hospital later on. Jimenez has released a statement. He's recovering and said, I will be under observation and I hope to return to the pitch soon. But the big debate around this is David Luiz was allowed to carry on after that nasty clash of heads, cut his head, a really bad cut, had it bandaged back up. He came on and played the rest of the first half, but then came off at half time after passing the concussion protocols. That's what Arsenal say, and the doctor on field said. But he came off at half time due to the nasty gash. But obviously, we'll have latest news on Jimenez and updates as it happens on Pro Soccer Talk, and we wish him a speedy recovery. The Mexican striker has been brilliant for Wolves in the Premier League over the last few years. But Andy, what did you make of that situation, especially, I guess, with David Luiz? There's a lot of talk about maybe a concussion sub or update in the concussion protocols in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's a really difficult one to try and cover all the points in situations like this, because at the end of the day, the only thing that anybody is caring about is about the well-being of the players on the field. And it is very difficult to immediately diagnose. There is no definitive test for concussion. And so it very much is in the medical professionals' hands. And so you have to trust them, but they have the motivation of, we need to win this game, and having to sub off your starting center back after 5 minutes puts you at a disadvantage to do that. So there's a lot of different motivations going on here. And so you just hope that, again, above all else and at all times, that player safety is the number one priority, and that they did do right by David Luiz, and that it was just a cut that was difficult to close up because it was very large on top of his forehead, right where his hairline starts. And there was no concussion. You hope, because those lingering effects, we've seen what they can do to some very, very great players around the world.
Nick, we hope with Jimenez that obviously he does make a full recovery, but it's going to be a long road back for him to recover from such a horrendous injury, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always stomach churning for me, because people of our generation, guys, a bit older, we did not have the head, for lack of a better term, the knowledge and the wisdom of treating head injuries. In the 90s, when I was playing hockey and soccer in high school, it was, you got your bell rung, and when you felt better, you went back in. And I can remember finally seeing a head specialist at one point after a particularly bad injury, and them telling me to take a year off. And I think it's really easy to remember. If anybody's been around footballers of either sport who played in the 70s and the 80s when head protection wasn't that good, a lot of them aren't in great shape. And so let's not forget that the brain is the nerve center of our bodies. And, you can have a fully functioning everything else, and you're nothing without your brain. So when I saw Raul tweet, his statement that he'll be back on the pitch soon, my thought was, man, I hope so, one, but also I hope you take your time, because there are so many more important things than that.
And definitely with Jimenez, obviously he's a player so good in the air, uses that part of his body a lot to be so effective. So you really just hope that, he can recover, like you said, Nick, take his time and come back even better and even in a better position. So our best wishes go out to Raul Jimenez, and at Pro Soccer Talk and NBCSports.com, we'll keep you updated with his condition and all the statements from both him and Wolves as they come through.